Why most people never escape active income. Most people believe that working harder is the solution to financial stress. They wake up early, stay busy all day, and fall asleep exhausted, hoping that tomorrow will finally feel easier. Yet for many, the pressure never disappears. The bills keep coming, time feels limited, and freedom always seems just out of reach. This is not because they are lazy or unintelligent. It is because they were never taught how income truly works. From a young age, we are conditioned to trade time for money. Go to school, get a job, work long hours, and if you are lucky, retire one day. This system rewards effort, but it also creates a trap. When income depends entirely on your presence, your freedom is always fragile. If you stop working, the money stops too. This is what is known as active income, and while it is necessary at the beginning of life, it was never meant to be the final destination. Passive income is often misunderstood. Some people imagine it as money with no effort, a fantasy sold by false promises and shortcuts. The truth is far more grounded. Passive income is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right work once, building systems, assets, and structures that continue to produce value over time. It is the shift from being paid only for hours worked to being paid for ownership, leverage, and long-term thinking. This book is not here to sell you dreams or overnight success. It is a blueprint, a clear, practical way to understand how people slowly move from dependence to independence, from constant effort to controlled growth. You will learn the difference between active, passive, and leveraged income, and why the wealthy focus on building assets instead of chasing paychecks. More importantly, you will learn how mindset, discipline, and consistency quietly shape financial freedom long before money shows up. Financial freedom does not begin with income, it begins with clarity. The clarity to see that being busy is not the same as making progress, and that true wealth is measured not just by money, but by time, choice, and peace of mind. If you are willing to think long-term, to stay patient, and to build instead of consume, this blueprint will change how you see money forever. This is not the end goal, it is the beginning, and it starts now. Chapter 1. The Income Trap. Most people do not realize they are trapped because the trap feels normal. Waking up early, rushing through traffic, working long hours, and counting the days until the next paycheck is so common that it is rarely questioned. Society praises busyness. Being tired is seen as a badge of honor. Yet beneath this routine lies a quiet truth. When your income depends entirely on your time, your freedom is always limited. The income trap begins with good intentions. You get a job to survive, then to be stable, then to be comfortable. Over time, expenses rise to match income. A better phone, a bigger house, a newer car. Each upgrade feels like progress, but it also tightens the system around you. Your lifestyle becomes dependent on your salary, and your salary becomes dependent on your constant presence. Missing work no longer feels like rest, it feels like risk. This is the hidden danger of active income. Active income means you are paid only when you show up. If you work, you earn. If you stop, everything pauses. There is nothing wrong with this model in the beginning. In fact, active income is how most people learn responsibility and discipline. The problem appears when active income becomes the only source of survival. At that point, time is no longer yours, it is rented. Many people believe the solution is to work harder or longer. They chase overtime, promotions, and side jobs. While these can increase income temporarily, they rarely increase freedom. More hours often bring more stress, not more control. Even higher salaries can deepen the trap if spending grows at the same pace. The cage becomes more comfortable, but it is still a cage. Another reason the income trap is so powerful is because it feels safe. A monthly paycheck feels predictable. Passive or leveraged income, on the other hand, feels uncertain at first. It requires patience, learning, and delayed rewards. Humans are naturally wired to prefer immediate results, which makes long-term thinking uncomfortable. This is why many people stay stuck, even when they know there must be another way. The truth is, the income trap is not just financial, it is psychological. When all your energy goes toward maintaining your current life, there is little space left to build the next one. Dreams are postponed, ideas are ignored, creativity fades under exhaustion. Over time, people stop asking what is possible and start asking what is realistic. This is how ambition quietly shrinks. Escaping the income trap does not mean quitting your job tomorrow. It means understanding the limitations of relying on only one type of income. It means recognizing that effort alone does not create wealth. Ownership does. Systems do. Leverage does. The moment you see that income can be separated from time, your thinking begins to change. This shift starts internally. Instead of asking, "How can I earn more money?" the better question becomes, "How can I build something that continues to create value?" This could be a skill, a platform, content, a business system, or an asset. The form matters less than the principle. What matters is that the result is not tied to every hour you personally work. People who escape the income trap think differently about time. They protect it. They invest it. They are willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term freedom. They understand that the early stages of building passive or leveraged income often feel slower than traditional work, but they also understand that once momentum builds, effort decreases while results increase. It is important to be honest here. The income trap does not disappear overnight. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the security of a paycheck feels more attractive than the uncertainty of building something new. This is normal. The difference between those who stay trapped and those who escape is not intelligence or luck, it is persistence combined with clarity. Clarity means knowing your job is a tool, not a destination. It funds your life while you build your future. When you stop seeing employment as the end goal and start seeing it as a stepping stone, you regain power. You are no longer waiting for permission to be free, you are preparing for it. This chapter is not meant to criticize work. Work is honorable. Discipline matters. Effort matters. But effort without direction leads to exhaustion, not freedom. The purpose of this book is to help you redirect effort toward assets, systems, and structures that compound over time. The income trap only holds power when it goes unnoticed. Now that you see it, you have a choice. You can continue trading time for money indefinitely, or you can begin building income that respects your time. That decision, more than any paycheck, is where financial freedom truly begins. Chapter 2: Active, Passive, and Leveraged Income. To build financial freedom, you must first understand the different ways money is earned. Many people struggle financially not because they lack effort, but because they rely on only one income model, without realizing there are others. Once you clearly see the differences between active, passive, and leveraged income, you begin to understand why some people stay stuck while others slowly gain control over their time. Active income is the most familiar. It is the income you earn by trading time and effort for money. Salaries, hourly wages, freelance work, and overtime all fall into this category. You show up, you perform a task, and you are paid. This model is simple and predictable, which is why most people depend on it. Active income is useful. It provides stability and teaches responsibility, but it has a hard limit. There are only so many hours in a day, and once those hours are filled, income stops growing. Passive income is often misunderstood. Many imagine it as money that arrives without effort, but that idea is misleading. Passive income usually requires significant effort up front. The difference is not effort, but timing. You work first, then you get paid later. often repeatedly. Royalties, digital products, automated online systems, rental income, and long-term investments are common examples. Once built, these income streams require less daily involvement to maintain. The reward is not instant, but it compounds over time. Then there is leveraged income, which sits between active and passive income and is often the most powerful. Leveraged income is earned by using systems, people, platforms, or capital to multiply your efforts. When you create something once and distribute it through technology, your reach expands beyond your personal time. A single piece of content can be watched by thousands. A system can serve customers while you sleep. Leverage allows your work to exist in many places at the same time. The key difference between these income types is not how hard you work, but how scalable your effort is. Active income is linear. You put in 1 unit of effort and receive 1 unit of reward. Passive and leveraged income are exponential. The same effort can produce results again and again. This is why people who build assets often appear to move faster later in life. They are no longer starting from zero each day. Understanding these models also explains why working harder does not always lead to freedom. When you only add more active income, you increase exhaustion, not independence. When you slowly introduce passive or leveraged income, you begin separating income from time. This separation is the foundation of financial control. It is important to be realistic. Passive and leveraged income come with uncertainty, learning curves, and delayed rewards. In the beginning, they often feel unfair. You work without seeing immediate results. Meanwhile, active income continues to pay on schedule. This contrast causes many people to quit too early. They mistake slow beginnings for failure, when in reality they are laying foundations. Smart builders do not reject active income, they use it strategically. Active income funds life and provides breathing room, while passive and leveraged systems are built quietly in the background. This balanced approach reduces stress and increases sustainability. It turns your job into a support system instead of a cage. The most successful individuals rarely rely on only one income type. They combine them. Active income provides stability. Passive income builds long-term security. Leveraged income accelerates growth. Over time, the balance shifts. Active income becomes optional rather than mandatory. Once you understand these distinctions, your decisions change. You stop asking how much something pays per hour and start asking how it scales. You become patient with slow progress because you understand compounding. You focus less on immediate comfort and more on long-term control. This chapter is about clarity. When you know how income truly works, you stop chasing money blindly. You begin designing it intentionally. And with that design, the path toward financial freedom becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Chapter 3. Mindset before money. Before income changes, thinking must change. Many people search for the right strategy, the perfect business model, or the fastest way to make money, yet overlook the most important foundation of all: mindset. Without the right mindset, even the best opportunities are wasted. With the right mindset, ordinary opportunities can become life-changing over time. Most people are trained to think like earners, not builders. An earner asks, "How much will I make this month?" A builder asks, "What am I creating that will still exist next year?" This difference in thinking shapes every decision. Earners focus on short-term security. Builders focus on long-term value. One is not wrong, but only one leads to lasting freedom. A common mental barrier is the need for immediate results. Active income rewards speed. You work today and get paid soon. Passive and leveraged income reward patience. You may work for weeks or months before seeing meaningful results. This delay causes doubt. People begin to question their ability, their ideas, and even the process itself. In reality, this delay is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that something real is being built. Another mindset shift involves risk. Many believe passive income is risky while a job is safe. The truth is more balanced. A job feels safe because it is familiar, but it often depends on a single source. One decision, one downturn, or one unexpected event can remove it. Building assets spreads risk over time and across systems. It requires courage at the beginning, but it often leads to greater stability later. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active consistency. Builders show up even when progress feels invisible. They understand that compounding works quietly. Just as money compounds with interest, effort compounds with repetition. Each piece of work adds weight to the system. Each improvement increases momentum. Over time, results appear suddenly, even though the work was happening all along. Discipline plays a critical role in mindset. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Builders do not rely on emotional highs, they rely on routines. Small daily actions repeated over long periods outperform intense bursts of effort. This is why many successful people appear calm rather than rushed. They trust their systems. Another key shift is moving from consumption to creation. Many people spend their free time consuming content, entertainment, and distractions. Builders intentionally reserve time to create. They write, record, design, plan, and improve. Creation may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is the gateway to ownership. You cannot build assets by only consuming. Mindset also affects how failure is viewed. Earners see failure as loss. Builders see it as data. When something does not work, it is not personal, it is information. This perspective removes fear and replaces it with curiosity. Instead of quitting, builders adjust. It is important to understand that mindset is not about positive thinking, it is about accurate thinking. It is seeing reality clearly and responding intelligently. Passive income is not easy, it is not fast. It requires focus, learning, and long-term commitment. Accepting this truth early prevents disappointment later. When mindset shifts, behavior follows. You become more selective with time. You protect your energy. You say no to distractions that offer comfort but no future value. You begin aligning daily actions with long-term goals. Money follows mindset because money is a result, not a starting point. Build the thinking first, and income structures will naturally follow. This chapter is about laying that mental foundation. Without it, any blueprint collapses. With it, progress becomes inevitable. Chapter 4. Digital Assets That Scale. In the past, building wealth often required large amounts of capital, physical space, or access to exclusive opportunities. Today, the landscape has changed. Digital assets have created a new path, one that allows individuals to build scalable income with fewer barriers than ever before. Understanding digital assets is essential for anyone serious about long-term financial freedom. A digital asset is something you create once and distribute repeatedly through technology. Unlike physical labor, digital work is not limited by location or time. A video, a course, a piece of software, an ebook, or an automated online service can reach thousands of people without requiring your presence each time. This is what makes digital assets powerful. They separate effort from output. One of the greatest advantages of digital assets is scalability. When you work a traditional job, income grows slowly and stops when you stop. With digital assets, the same effort can produce results again and again. A single piece of content can educate, inspire, or solve problems for people across the world. The work does not disappear when the day ends. It continues to exist, creating value. Digital assets also lower the cost of entry. You no longer need factories, warehouses, or large teams to begin. Many successful digital assets started with nothing more than knowledge, a skill, or a personal experience. What matters most is usefulness. When an asset helps people save time, solve a problem, or learn something valuable, it earns attention. Over time, attention turns into opportunity. However, building digital assets requires a shift in expectations. Results are rarely immediate. In the early stages, progress can feel slow and unrewarding. Views may be low, sales may be minimal. This phase discourages many people. They compare their beginnings to someone else's results and assume failure. In reality, this is the normal growth process of any asset. Visibility grows with consistency. Another important factor is ownership. When you own a digital asset, you control how it is used, improved, and distributed. This ownership creates leverage. Instead of selling your time repeatedly, you sell access to value you have already created. This does not eliminate work, but it changes its nature. You work on the system, not inside it. Digital assets also benefit from compounding. Each improvement adds strength. Each update increases relevance. Each audience interaction builds trust. Over time, small efforts accumulate into meaningful momentum. This is why long-term creators often outperform short-term hustlers. They understand that value grows with patience. It is also important to avoid chasing too many ideas at once. Digital opportunities are abundant, which can lead to distraction. Focus is critical. One well-built asset is more powerful than many unfinished projects. Builders choose a direction, commit to it, and improve gradually. The goal of digital assets is not complexity, it is clarity. Clear messaging, clear value, and clear systems outperform complicated strategies. When people understand what you offer and how it helps them, growth becomes natural. Digital assets represent a modern form of ownership. They reward creativity, discipline, and consistency. They do not require perfection, but they do require commitment. This chapter is about recognizing that the tools for scalable income already exist. The question is no longer whether it is possible, but whether you are willing to build patiently. Chapter 5. Building your first passive income stream. Building your first passive income stream is one of the most important steps in your financial journey, not because it will immediately change your life, but because it will change how you think. The first stream is not about becoming wealthy. It is about learning how income can exist beyond your direct effort. Once you experience this shift, your perspective on money, time, and work changes permanently. Many beginners make the mistake of aiming too high too fast. They chase complex strategies, multiple ideas, or advanced systems before understanding the basics. This often leads to frustration and burnout. The truth is simple. Your first passive income stream should be small, focused, and manageable. Complexity is not required. Consistency is. The purpose of the first stream is education through execution. You are not just building income, you are building skills. You learn how to create value, how to distribute it, and how to improve it over time. These skills transfer to every future project you build. Without this foundation, scaling becomes chaotic instead of strategic. The first step is choosing one clear model. Not the most popular model, not the one promising the fastest results, but the one that fits your current abilities and lifestyle. This could be digital content, a simple product, a service that can be partially automated, or an asset that grows slowly over time. What matters is alignment. When the model fits you, consistency becomes easier. Many people delay starting because they believe they are not ready. They wait for more knowledge, better tools, or perfect conditions. This waiting often turns into procrastination. Builders understand that readiness comes from action. You start with what you know, improve as you go, and allow the process to teach you. Imperfect action beats perfect planning every time. Another critical element is expectation management. Passive income is front-loaded with effort. In the beginning, you will likely invest time without seeing results. This phase is uncomfortable, especially if you are used to active income where effort is rewarded quickly. But this discomfort is temporary. It is the cost of building something that lasts. Execution matters more than ideas. Many people have good ideas, but few turn them into completed systems. Completion is a powerful skill. Finishing something, even if it is simple, builds confidence and momentum. A finished small project is more valuable than an unfinished big one. Discipline plays a major role here. Motivation will not carry you through the early stages. Progress often feels invisible. Builders rely on routines instead of emotions. They schedule work, protect time, and show up consistently even when results are quiet. Over time, this discipline compounds. It is also important to design your first passive income stream for sustainability. If the system requires constant attention or excessive effort, it will eventually collapse. Sustainable systems fit into your life without overwhelming it. They grow through steady improvement, not exhaustion. Feedback is another key component. Early feedback may be minimal or even discouraging. Few views, small sales, or limited responses are normal. Instead of reacting emotionally, observe objectively. Ask what can be improved. Small adjustments applied consistently create long-term growth. One of the most powerful moments in this journey is when income arrives without direct effort at that moment. Even if the amount is small, the psychological impact is significant. It proves that income can be separated from time. This belief strengthens patience and reinforces discipline. It is important to avoid comparison. Many people compare their beginnings to someone else's middle or end. This creates unnecessary doubt. Every successful system started quietly. Focus on progress, not position. Your timeline is your own. As your first passive income stream stabilizes, your confidence grows. You begin to trust systems. You stop questioning every decision. You gain clarity about what works for you. This clarity is more valuable than money in the early stages. Your first stream is not meant to carry your entire financial future. It is a training ground. It prepares you mentally and practically for future expansion. Once you understand the process, building additional streams becomes less intimidating and more strategic. This chapter is about commitment, committing to one idea, one system, one process. Not because it is perfect, but because consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Those who succeed are not the ones who move fastest. They are the ones who continue steadily while others quit. Building your first passive income stream is the moment you stop being only a consumer of systems and start becoming a creator of them. That shift, more than any dollar amount, is the real beginning of financial independence. Chapter 6: Systems that Work While You Sleep. At some point, every serious builder reaches the same realization: effort alone is not enough. Working harder may increase output, but it does not create freedom. Freedom comes from systems. Systems are what allow value to move without constant supervision. They are the quiet engines behind every form of passive and leveraged income. A system is simply a repeatable process that produces a predictable result. It does not need to be complex. In fact, the most powerful systems are often simple. What matters is that the process can function with minimal input once it is established. When a system is built correctly, it replaces manual effort with structure. Most people rely on motivation to move forward. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Systems are logical and reliable. A motivated person works when they feel inspired. A system works every day regardless of mood. This is why systems outperform motivation in the long run. They remove decision fatigue and reduce dependence on willpower. Think about how most people earn income. They wake up, go to work, complete tasks, and get paid. When they stop, income stops. There is no system operating in their absence. Passive and leveraged income, on the other hand, depend on systems that continue functioning even when the creator is not actively involved. Systems exist everywhere. A video platform distributes content automatically. A website delivers information without your presence. An automated email sequence communicates consistently. A digital product delivers value instantly. These systems do not eliminate work, but they shift it forward in time. You work first, then the system works for you. Building systems requires upfront clarity. You must understand what problem you are solving and how value is delivered. Confusion creates fragile systems. Clarity creates resilience. When the process is clear, it can be simplified, improved, and eventually automated. Many beginners try to automate too early. They search for tools before understanding the process. This often leads to frustration. Automation should come after repetition. First, perform the task manually. Learn what works. Identify where effort is wasted. Only then should automation be introduced. Systems grow naturally from understanding, not shortcuts. Another important element of systems is consistency. A system that runs occasionally is unreliable. One that runs regularly builds trust. Whether it is content creation, product delivery, or customer interaction, consistency strengthens the system over time. People trust what is predictable. Systems also protect your time. Without systems, everything depends on you. Every question, every task, every decision requires your attention. This leads to exhaustion and stagnation. With systems, responsibilities are organized. Decisions are pre-made. Processes replace improvisation. This creates mental space to think strategically instead of reacting constantly. One of the most powerful system principles is feedback. Strong systems include feedback loops. Data, responses, and results are observed and used to improve performance. This does not require perfection, it requires attention. Small improvements applied consistently create massive long-term gains. It is important to understand that systems do not remove responsibility. They shift responsibility from constant effort to thoughtful design. Builders spend less time doing and more time improving. This is a higher level of work. It feels slower at first, but it compounds. Many people avoid building systems because the early stages feel unrewarding. There is no immediate praise, no instant income. But systems are invisible before they are powerful. Once they are in place, they quietly produce results while others are still relying on daily effort. Systems also create leverage. When value flows through a system, one action can produce multiple outcomes. One piece of work can serve many people. One improvement can increase efficiency across the entire structure. This leverage is what allows income to grow without proportional effort. A critical mindset shift is learning to trust systems. Beginners often interfere too much. They check constantly, adjust emotionally, and abandon processes too soon. Systems need time to stabilize. Patience is part of system thinking. You build, observe, refine, and repeat. It is also essential to keep systems aligned with your life. A system that demands constant attention defeats its purpose. The goal is not to replace one form of busyness with another. The goal is to create space. Systems should support freedom, not consume it. Over time, multiple systems can work together. Content feeds audiences. Audiences discover products. Products generate income. Income funds further improvement. Each system reinforces the others. This is how passive income becomes sustainable rather than fragile. This chapter is about a fundamental truth. Freedom is engineered, not wished for. Systems are the tools of that engineering. When you learn to build systems that operate without your constant presence, you stop chasing income and start designing it. Passive income is not magic. It is structure. And once structure is in place, momentum does the rest. Chapter 7. Multiple Streams of Income Done Right. Once people understand passive income and systems, many rush to build multiple income streams at the same time. They hear that wealthy individuals have many streams of income and assume more streams automatically mean more success. In reality, this misunderstanding causes more failure than progress. Multiple streams only work when they are built in the right order. The first rule is simple. Do not diversify before you stabilize. One working system is more valuable than 5 unfinished ones. Many beginners divide their attention too early. They start a project, face slow progress, then move to something new. This creates motion without momentum. Progress requires depth before breadth. Multiple streams of income are powerful because they reduce dependence on any single source. If one stream slows down, others continue. This creates resilience. However, resilience comes from maturity, not chaos. Each stream must be strong enough to stand on its own before another is added. The correct sequence is focus, stability, then expansion. Focus allows you to understand a system deeply. Stability proves that the system can produce results consistently. Expansion then becomes logical rather than emotional. When you add a new stream from a place of control, not desperation, it grows faster and with less stress. Another important distinction is between active streams and leveraged streams. Some people add more active income, such as freelance work or extra jobs. This increases income, but also increases fatigue. True wealth is built by adding streams that do not require equal time for equal reward. Leveraged streams share systems, audiences, or infrastructure. This is how effort compounds instead of fragments. For example, one core asset can support multiple income paths. Content can lead to products. Products can lead to subscriptions. Subscriptions can lead to partnerships. Each stream builds on the same foundation. This approach is efficient and sustainable. It reduces the learning curve and strengthens the overall structure. A common mistake is chasing trends. Trends promise fast results, but they rarely last. Builders focus on fundamentals, value creation, trust, and consistency. When a stream is based on fundamentals, it survives market changes. Trend-based income disappears as quickly as it appears. Another key factor is timing. Not every idea deserves immediate action. Some ideas are future expansions, not present priorities. Learning to say no is a skill. Focus protects quality. Quality creates trust. Trust multiplies income. Systems thinking is essential here. When adding a new income stream, ask whether it fits into an existing system. Does it share an audience? Does it use the same tools? Does it reinforce what already works? If the answer is no, the stream may create friction instead of leverage. Multiple streams also require discipline. Each stream must be monitored, maintained, and improved. Without structure, streams become leaks. Organization turns complexity into control. Simple tracking, clear responsibilities, and scheduled reviews prevent overwhelm. There is also a psychological benefit to multiple streams. They reduce fear. When income does not depend on a single source, decisions become calmer. You are less reactive. You can think long-term. This mental freedom often leads to better strategy and stronger performance. However, too many streams too soon create stress. Mental overload reduces execution quality. Builders understand their capacity and respect it. Growth that outpaces discipline eventually collapses. Sustainable growth moves at the speed of clarity, not excitement. Another powerful principle is reinvestment. Successful builders reinvest early profits into strengthening existing streams rather than chasing new ones. Better tools, improved systems, and skill development increase long-term returns. Reinvestment accelerates compounding. Over time, multiple streams create optionality. You are no longer forced to rely on what you dislike. You can choose where to focus. This choice is the real value of diversification. Income becomes flexible, not fragile. This chapter is not about doing more. It is about doing things in the right order. Build one system, strengthen it, then let it support the next. Multiple streams are not a shortcut. They are a result of patience and discipline. When done correctly, multiple income streams do not increase stress. They reduce it. They turn effort into leverage and risk into stability. This is how income begins to work for you instead of against you. Chapter 8. Discipline, Time, and Focus. Every form of passive income, system, or long-term asset is built on the same invisible foundation: discipline. Not motivation, not talent, discipline. Without it, even the best ideas slowly collapse. With it, average ideas become powerful over time. Discipline is what keeps builders moving when progress is quiet and rewards are delayed. Time is the most limited resource you have. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can return. Time only moves forward. Yet most people treat time casually. They give it away to distractions, interruptions, and low-value activities without noticing the cost. Builders think differently. They treat time as an investment, not an expense. Focus is how time becomes valuable. Scattered effort produces scattered results. Focused effort produces momentum. Many people confuse being busy with being productive. They respond to messages, attend meetings, scroll endlessly, and feel exhausted by the end of the day, yet nothing meaningful has been built. True productivity is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters. Discipline begins with structure. Builders design their days intentionally. They create routines that support their goals. This does not mean rigid schedules that remove freedom. It means clear priorities. When you know what matters most, decisions become easier. You stop negotiating with yourself. You act. One of the most powerful discipline tools is consistency. Small actions repeated daily outperform large actions done occasionally. Writing one page a day builds a book. Creating one piece of content regularly builds an audience. Improving a system slightly each week creates long-term efficiency. Consistency removes pressure. You do not need to be perfect, you only need to continue. Discipline also protects focus by setting boundaries. Builders say no more often than they say yes. They limit distractions, reduce unnecessary commitments, and protect deep work time. This can feel uncomfortable at first, especially in a culture that values constant availability, but every yes to distraction is a no to progress. Another key element is energy management. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to work endlessly. It is about working intelligently. Builders understand when their energy is highest and schedule important work during those periods. Rest is not a reward, it is part of the system. Burnout destroys focus and slows progress. Time blocking is a simple but powerful strategy. Instead of reacting to the day, builders assign time to important tasks in advance. This creates clarity and reduces decision fatigue. When the time arrives, the task is already chosen. Execution becomes easier. Focus also requires patience. Many people abandon good projects because they do not see immediate results. They mistake silence for failure. Builders understand that growth is often invisible before it becomes obvious. They trust the process because they trust their discipline. Another challenge is mental noise. Constant information consumption weakens focus. News, social media, and endless opinions pull attention in every direction. Builders are selective. They consume information intentionally and create more than they consume. This keeps the mind clear and directed. Discipline also shapes identity. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on systems. This identity shift is powerful. You are no longer someone who hopes to succeed. You are someone who builds daily. Focus deepens when goals are clear. Vague goals create weak action. Clear goals guide effort. Builders know what they are building and why. This clarity allows them to ignore distractions without guilt. Not everything deserves attention. It is important to understand that discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. It is choosing long-term freedom over short-term comfort. Each disciplined decision strengthens future discipline. Over time, it becomes natural. This chapter is about mastery of the invisible. Income systems, digital assets, and leverage only work when supported by disciplined use of time and focus. Without these, systems decay. With them, systems strengthen automatically. Financial freedom is not achieved through sudden breakthroughs. It is built through thousands of small, disciplined decisions. Each focused hour is a brick. Each protected habit is reinforcement. Over time, the structure stands on its own. Discipline, time, and focus are not optional. They are the price of independence. Pay that price daily, and the results will compound quietly in your favor. Chapter 9. Scaling without losing freedom. Many people believe that growth automatically brings freedom. In reality, growth without intention often brings the opposite. More responsibility, more pressure, and more complexity can quietly replace the freedom you worked so hard to build. This is why scaling must be approached carefully. The goal is not to grow endlessly. The goal is to grow wisely. Scaling means increasing results without increasing effort at the same rate. It is not about doing more work. It is about improving systems so they produce more value with the same or less input. When scaling is done correctly, life becomes simpler, not more chaotic. One of the first mistakes people make when scaling is expanding too quickly. They add new projects, new platforms, and new responsibilities without strengthening what already works. This creates fragility. When one part fails, everything is affected. Builders scale only what is proven. Stability comes before expansion. Another critical principle is reinvestment. Early success should not immediately translate into higher spending. Builders reinvest profits into strengthening systems, improving quality, and increasing efficiency. This might include better tools, education, or automation. Reinvestment accelerates growth while protecting freedom. Automation plays a key role in sustainable scaling. Repetitive tasks should be identified and simplified. When systems handle routine work, mental energy is preserved for strategy and creativity. Automation does not remove human involvement completely, but it reduces friction and errors. Delegation is another powerful scaling tool. Many people resist delegation because they fear losing control. In reality, refusing to delegate limits growth. Delegation allows builders to focus on high-impact decisions instead of daily operations. The key is clarity. Clear expectations create reliable outcomes. Scaling also requires boundaries. Just because something is profitable does not mean it deserves expansion. Some opportunities cost too much time or energy. Builders protect their lifestyle by saying no to growth that compromises their values or health. Freedom is not measured by revenue alone. One of the most overlooked aspects of scaling is simplicity. Complexity feels impressive but creates dependency. Simple systems are easier to maintain, improve, and transfer. Builders aim for clarity at every stage. When systems are simple, growth becomes sustainable. Another important concept is margin. Margin is the space between effort and capacity. Without margin, any disruption creates stress. Builders intentionally maintain margin by not operating at maximum capacity. This allows flexibility and resilience during challenges. Scaling also tests discipline. As income grows, distractions increase. Comfort can reduce urgency. Builders stay grounded by revisiting their original purpose. They remember why they started. This keeps decisions aligned with long-term goals instead of short-term pleasure. Financial discipline becomes even more important during growth. Lifestyle inflation can quickly erase progress. Builders design their lifestyle intentionally, ensuring that expenses grow slower than income. This preserves optionality and independence. A powerful shift happens when income no longer dictates decisions. When systems are stable, builders can choose projects based on interest and impact rather than necessity. This choice is the real reward of scaling. It transforms work from obligation into expression. It is also important to recognize when not to scale. Some systems work best at a certain size. Bigger is not always better. Builders understand their desired lifestyle and scale to support it, not to impress others. Alignment matters more than numbers. Scaling without losing freedom requires self-awareness. Growth amplifies existing habits. If systems are weak, scaling exposes those weaknesses. If discipline is strong, scaling strengthens results. This is why earlier chapters matter so much. This chapter is about intentional growth, growth that supports freedom rather than replacing it. When scaling is guided by clarity, discipline, and systems, success becomes sustainable. Freedom is not something you reach at the end. It is something you protect at every stage. Scale wisely, and the blueprint remains intact. Chapter 10. What financial freedom really means. For many people, financial freedom is misunderstood. They imagine endless money, constant travel, or a life without responsibility. These images are attractive, but they are incomplete. True financial freedom is not about escaping work or living without effort. It is about choice. It is about having control over how you spend your time, energy, and attention. At its core, financial freedom means income is no longer the primary decision-maker in your life. You do not wake up asking what you must do to survive. You wake up asking what you want to build, contribute, or improve. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. It replaces pressure with intention. One of the most important realizations is that financial freedom is personal. There is no universal number that guarantees it. For some, freedom means covering basic needs with minimal stress. For others, it means supporting a family, building a business, or creating impact at scale. The mistake many people make is chasing someone else's definition instead of designing their own. Financial freedom is also progressive. It does not arrive all at once. It is built in stages. The first stage is stability, where expenses are covered reliably. The next stage is flexibility, where income is no longer tied to every hour worked. The final stage is autonomy, where choices are made based on values rather than necessity. Each stage builds on the previous one. Another key truth is that financial freedom requires discipline. Without discipline, income grows but freedom shrinks. Lifestyle inflation, poor planning, and emotional decisions can quietly undo years of progress. Builders understand that freedom must be protected through intentional habits and clear boundaries. Time becomes the true currency at this stage. Builders evaluate opportunities not only by financial return, but by time cost. They ask whether a project adds clarity or complexity. They choose fewer commitments with greater meaning. This selectiveness is not laziness, it is wisdom. Financial freedom also changes how success is measured. Instead of constant growth, builders focus on sustainability. Instead of comparison, they focus on alignment. Instead of speed, they focus on longevity. This shift creates peace of mind, which is often more valuable than income itself. Another important aspect is contribution. Once basic needs are met, many people feel a natural desire to give back. This could mean teaching, mentoring, supporting causes, or creating value for others. Financial freedom expands the ability to contribute meaningfully without personal sacrifice. It is also important to acknowledge that challenges do not disappear. Freedom does not remove responsibility. It changes the nature of it. Decisions become more complex, but also more intentional. Builders accept this trade-off because autonomy is worth it. One of the most powerful benefits of financial freedom is reduced fear. Fear of losing a job, fear of saying no, fear of uncertainty. When income systems are stable, fear loses its grip. This allows creativity, curiosity, and confidence to grow. Financial freedom also strengthens identity. You are no longer defined by a title or paycheck. You are defined by what you build and how you live. This internal shift creates resilience. External changes have less power over your sense of worth. It is worth remembering that financial freedom is not the finish line. It is a platform from which you can create, explore, and evolve. Life continues to change, and freedom allows you to adapt rather than react. This book has not promised shortcuts or guarantees. It has offered a blueprint, a way of thinking, building, and acting that leads toward independence over time. The blueprint works not because it is clever, but because it is grounded in principles that compound. The final lesson is simple. Financial freedom is built quietly. It grows through discipline, patience, and clarity. It does not require perfection, it requires consistency. If you have understood one thing from this journey, let it be this: freedom is not found by chasing money. It is built by designing income that serves your life instead of controlling it. Your blueprint starts now. If you have made it this far, you already understand something many people never do. Financial freedom is not a fantasy reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It is a process, a series of deliberate decisions made over time. It begins with awareness, grows through discipline, and is sustained by systems that respect your time and energy. This book did not promise shortcuts, instant wealth, or effortless success. Instead, it offered a blueprint, a way to think differently about income, effort, and ownership. You learned why relying only on active income creates limits, how passive and leveraged income change the rules, and why mindset must come before money. You explored digital assets, systems, focus, discipline, and the importance of scaling without losing freedom. These ideas are not trends, they are principles. The most important step is not understanding, it is action. Not massive action, but consistent action. Small steps taken daily compound quietly. 1 hour protected, one system improved, one habit reinforced. Over time, these small actions build structures that support freedom rather than consume it. There will be moments of doubt, moments when progress feels slow and results feel distant. This is normal. Every meaningful build passes through a quiet phase. The difference between those who succeed and those who stop is not talent or intelligence. It is patience paired with clarity. Keep building even when no one is watching. Remember that your job, your current income, and your circumstances are not your limits. They are tools. Use them wisely. Let them support your life while you design something more sustainable in the background. You do not need to rush. You need to be consistent. Financial freedom is not about escaping responsibility. It is about choosing responsibility intentionally. It is about designing a life where income supports your values instead of controlling your decisions. That kind of freedom creates peace, confidence, and long-term stability. The blueprint is now in your hands. What you build with it is up to you. Start where you are. Use what you have. Move forward one disciplined step at a time. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning.